My name is Eleanor, and I'm 34 years old. Standing at the gate of my oceanfront mansion, a wave of mixed emotions hit me as I faced two people I never expected to see again. My brother Aaron and his wife Vanessa stood there, luggage at their feet, desperation in their eyes, begging to live with me. 10 years ago, Aaron punched me and cut me off after Vanessa called me trash and I dared to call them out. Before I share my decision, tell me where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you've dealt with toxic family members. I grew up in a middle-class Boston neighborhood with my parents and older brother Aaron. Our cozy two-story colonial had a small backyard where Aaron and I played for hours as kids. 4 years older, he was my hero and best friend back then. I can still picture him teaching me to ride a bike, steadying the seat as he ran beside me until I found my balance. When kids mocked my curly hair, Aaron always told them to back off. Our parents worked in finance, Dad as an investment advisor, Mom as an accountant. Their long hours left Aaron and me to fend for ourselves after school. We'd walk home together, with him guiding me across streets, then tackle homework at the kitchen table before making sandwiches and watching cartoons. Everything shifted when Aaron hit 12. Our parents piled on expectations, enrolling him in advanced classes and countless activities, obsessed with his future in finance. Overnight, our family revolved around Aaron's potential. I was only 8, and the change was glaringly obvious to me. Family dinners turned into grill sessions about Aaron's grades and successes. My own wins, like acing the spelling bee or starring in the school play, got a quick nod before the spotlight swung back to Aaron. I'll never forget the hurt when no one showed up to my Alice in Wonderland performance because it clashed with Aaron's debate tournament. I pushed myself harder to win my parents' approval. I kept a perfect GPA, joined the student council, and volunteered at the local hospital. Yet, nothing I did ever matched Aaron's achievements in their eyes. I'd bring home straight A's, and Mom would say, "That's nice, Eleanor," before raving about Aaron's B+ in advanced calculus. Aaron changed slowly but surely. My once kind brother started echoing our parents' attitudes, turning condescending. "Theaters just make believe, Eleanor. It's not like my work matters in the real world," he'd sneer when I shared my excitement about a school play role. By middle school, with Aaron in high school, we barely connected. He was consumed by elite internships and college prep courses. When he did notice me, it was to mock or criticize me in front of his friends. I still cringe thinking of the time I was 13, studying with my first crush, when Aaron barged in, sharing embarrassing childhood stories and laughing as I blushed. Still, I held on to hope that Aaron cared deep down. I saw flashes of my old brother sometimes, like when he quietly helped with my trigonometry homework or stood up for me against a harsh teacher who wrongly accused me of cheating. I kept trying to reach him, slipping encouraging notes into his backpack before big tests or saving him the last slice of chocolate cake, his favorite. His rare smiles or quick hair ruffles meant the world, reminding me of how we used to be. When Aaron left for college at 18, the house felt emptier but less tense without the constant comparisons. My parents started noticing my achievements a bit more. Mom came to my debate tournament finals, and Dad helped with my college applications. Still, their conversations always circled back to Aaron, his Princeton classes, internships, and connections. I dove into my studies and activities with fierce determination. If I couldn't have my parents' full love, I'd build my own path. By senior year, I was valedictorian, earned a full scholarship to Northwestern University, and got into their top-tier business program. When my scholarship letter arrived, I rushed home, thrilled. I'd done something huge on my own, easing my parents' financial burden. I shared the news in the kitchen. "That's great, Eleanor," Dad said, glancing up from his paper. "Northwestern's solid," Mom added, sipping her coffee. "Not Princeton, but respectable." Their half-hearted response hurt, but I wasn't surprised. What I didn't expect was Aaron's call 15 minutes later, put on speakerphone by my parents. He'd landed a summer associate role at Goldman Sachs, a job usually for MBA students. My parents cheered wildly, my scholarship forgotten in their excitement over Aaron's news. Sitting there, letter in hand, I felt invisible in my own home. That moment hit me hard. No matter what I achieved, I'd never equal Aaron in my family's eyes. Painful as it was, it freed me to stop chasing their approval and start carving my own way forward. As I packed for college that fall, I vowed to build a meaningful life on my terms, with or without my family's support. I had no idea how much that promise would be tested in the years ahead. Northwestern University felt like a fresh start. For the first time, people saw me as Eleanor, not Aaron's little sister. My dorm, a 5-story brick building, had big windows overlooking Lake Michigan. My roommate, Tessa, from Seattle, studied marine biology and got me hooked on spicy food and indie rock bands. During orientation week, a tech startup showcase changed my life. Watching young entrepreneurs pitch their ideas to investors sparked something in me. I'd always loved business, but seeing innovators my age made me realize I didn't have to wait to chase my dreams. I chose a dual major in business and computer science, surprising my advisor. "That's a tough combo," she warned. "The workload's intense." But I was ready. Years of striving to prove myself had built my resilience and discipline. College was hectic but thrilling. I joined the Entrepreneurship Club and Women in Business group, meeting others who shared my drive for innovation. In my sophomore year, I started working on a mobile app to help small businesses manage inventory and connect with local suppliers. I spent late nights in the computer lab, teaching myself new coding languages and building prototypes. My family ties grew distant. I called home every Sunday, but talks were short and shallow. My parents were caught up in Aaron's new job at a financial firm they'd helped him land. When I mentioned my app idea, Dad laughed. "Apps are everywhere, Eleanor. Focus on solid internships like your brother." Being financially independent became my goal. My scholarship covered tuition, but Chicago's living costs were high. I worked 20 hours a week at the campus bookstore and took freelance web design gigs. Every penny went to my business or essentials. I lived simply, skipping social events to save money or work on my app. In my junior year, I met Professor Lawrence Bennett at a business pitch competition. He'd sold his tech company for millions before teaching, and he saw promise in my app idea, offering to mentor me. With his help, I sharpened my business plan and learned how to attract funding. "You've got something unique, Eleanor," Lawrence said after checking my latest prototype. "Think bigger, it could connect businesses across regions, not just locally." His encouragement pushed me to apply for the university's Startup Incubator program. I got in, gaining access to workspace, resources, and investor introductions. I built a small team of passionate students: Zoe, a coding genius; Daniel, a creative marketing major; and Jackson, a supply chain expert. The summer before my senior year, we launched Supply Links Beta with 20 Chicago businesses. Early feedback was encouraging, but flaws soon surfaced. Several users quit, frustrated by clunky interfaces and integration issues. That first taste of failure crushed me. I called Lawrence, sobbing in my tiny apartment, ready to quit. "Setbacks are normal," he reassured me. "Success depends on how you bounce back." His words sank in, so I rallied my team to analyze our mistakes. We spent 2 months rebuilding the platform, fixing every issue users raised. I poured all my savings into keeping us going, often skipping meals to save cash. That Christmas, visiting home highlighted the gap between Aaron's life and mine. He'd just been promoted and bought a fancy Back Bay condo. I was in thrift store clothes, thinner from my tight budget. "You look worn out, Eleanor," Mom said at dinner. "Maybe ditch the app and take an entry-level job at your dad's firm." "I'm okay, Mom," I said, hiding my irritation. Supply Links hitting some bumps, but we're moving forward. Aaron smirked. Sounds like a dating app for warehouse guys. My parents laughed, and that old sting of being the family joke hit hard. But I'd changed. Instead of retreating, I calmly explained our new business model and market potential. Their approval wasn't necessary anymore. After graduation, while classmates chased corporate jobs, I went all in on SupplyLink. Our revamped platform started gaining traction. Lawrence connected me with angel investors, securing funds for a small office and 2 new developers. That first year was brutal, 16-hour days, 7 days a week. I doubted myself, especially seeing Aaron's social media posts of exotic business trips and a bigger house, all backed by our parents' support. But SupplyLink slowly took off. Chicago businesses recommended us to others nearby. By 18 months, we had 300 users across 3 states. Profit was still elusive, but growth was steady. Family gatherings grew awkward. My parents introduced me as our daughter with a little internet thing, while Aaron was our son, the Morgan Stanley VP. I smiled through it, knowing their validation was out of reach. I didn't see it then, but while one chapter of family letdowns was ending, a tougher one was about to start, testing not just my business grit but my personal boundaries in ways I never imagined. I met Vanessa at 26 during Thanksgiving at my parents' house. Aaron had hyped her as someone special, and my parents were buzzing with excitement. They'd spruced up the guest room, bought new china, and even hired a cleaner, a first. When Vanessa arrived, I got why. She was stunning, with sleek dark hair, flawless makeup, and confidence that screamed privilege. Her designer clothes stood out, even to me, who barely cared about fashion. Aaron adored her, and my parents were smitten. "Eleanor, meet Vanessa Hartley," Aaron said, as if her name should ring bells. I later learned her dad owned a major East Coast private equity firm. "So nice to meet you," Vanessa said, air-kissing my cheeks. Aaron's told me all about his little sister and her cute app project. Her cute app project, Jab grated, but I kept my cool. SupplyLink's actually growing. We just hit the Midwest market. "That's sweet," she said, already eyeing Mom's new kitchen. At dinner, Vanessa stole the show, gushing about her Paris trip, her dad's yacht, and a charity gala that raised over $1 million. My parents ate it up, praising her wine choice and asking endless questions. I tried sharing news of a big client we'd signed, but Mom cut me off to admire Vanessa's diamond bracelet. It felt like I'd faded even further in my family's eyes, outshone by Vanessa's wealth and status. While clearing dishes, I overheard Vanessa in the living room. "Tech's so risky," she said. "I worry about people betting everything on it." Then, quieter, especially without the right education or background. My face burned. They were talking about me. I took a deep breath, reminding myself my worth didn't hinge on Vanessa's snide remarks or my family's approval. Over months, Aaron and Vanessa got serious, landing in Boston magazine's Power Couples Under 30. My parents raved about their perfect match. On a call, Mom hinted I should let Aaron set me up with his colleagues since I wasn't getting younger. "I'm focused on my company, Mom," I said. "Dating's not my priority." "Not everyone lands a Vanessa," she sighed. "But you could try for someone decent." I still tried to stay close to Aaron, meeting for lunch in Boston, though Vanessa often tagged along. She'd ask shallow questions about my business, then pivot to her own world. 6 months into dating, Aaron proposed to Vanessa with a 5-carat ring during a Napa Valley hot air balloon ride. The engagement hit the Boston Globe Society pages, and my parents planned a lavish wedding. I was invited to their engagement party at the Hartley Estate, a grand Brookline mansion with stunning gardens and city views. Feeling out of place among elite guests, I slipped into the library for a breather. That's when I overheard Vanessa and Aaron next door. "Your sister's nice enough," Vanessa said, her tone fake. But honestly, she's an embarrassment. Everyone here matters, and she's running a failing startup from some warehouse. I froze, stunned, hoping Aaron would stand up for me. Instead, he sighed. I know, babe. She's always been the family letdown. Mom and Dad did their best, but she just doesn't have what it takes to make it. She's basically trash next to our crowd, Vanessa sneered. I mean, her outfit tonight? It's like she didn't even bother. Let's keep her out of the wedding spotlight, Aaron said. Stick her in the back with the distant cousins. Their words hit like a punch to the gut. For years, I'd clung to the hope that Aaron still cared, that beneath his arrogance and our parents' favoritism, he was still the brother who taught me to ride a bike and chased off bullies. In that moment, my hope crumbled. I slipped out of the library, masking my pain with a forced smile. For the rest of the party, I made small talk, counting the minutes until I could escape. When Vanessa clinked her glass to announce their spring wedding date, I clapped along, feeling empty inside. On my flight back to Chicago, I made a choice. I'd go to their wedding to meet expectations, but I'd set firmer boundaries with my family moving forward. Their approval was out of reach, and chasing it was only hurting me. I didn't know then that the worst was coming, and the wedding would be the breaking point that ended my family ties for good. 6 months later, wedding plans were in full swing. As Aaron's only sister, I wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid. Vanessa chose 5 sorority sisters and 2 cousins instead. It's not personal, Aaron said over the phone. Vanessa has her vision for the wedding party, and we have to respect it. I told myself it didn't matter. I was swamped with SupplyLink, which had just landed more funding. We were in 6 states with a team of 15, finally making a small profit that I funneled back into growth. 3 months before the wedding, Mom called out of the blue. Eleanor, we need to talk about wedding costs, she said bluntly. What costs? I asked, confused. I'd already bought my dress and booked flights. The Hartleys are paying a lot, but we're still short. Your father and I dipped into our retirement, but it's not enough. Dread washed over me. What are you saying, Mom? We need your help, Eleanor. We used your credit card for some deposits. Your business is doing well, and this is a big family event. I nearly dropped my phone. You did what? How did you get my card info? You left your wallet here last visit, she said casually. It's no big deal. We're family, and it's Aaron's wedding. I checked my account and felt sick. Over $100,000 in charges to wedding vendors, a luxury hotel, top caterer, designer florist, and more. Mom, this is crazy. You can't just charge $100,000 without asking me. Don't be dramatic, Eleanor, she snapped. Aaron would do the same for you. This is what family does. Besides, your little app can cover it now. I was furious and stunned. They'd stolen from me and acted like I owed them. Refund every charge now, I said, shaking. This isn't a request. It's theft, and it's illegal. You're so selfish, Mom shouted. After all we've done for you, this is Aaron's big day. What have you done for me? I fired back. I got through college on scholarships, built my business alone, and now you steal from me and call me selfish? The call spiraled, ending with Mom hanging up, calling me ungrateful. Dad called later, calmer but firm, saying I had to cover the costs as family duty. I contacted my credit card company to dispute the charges. But since my parents had my card and we were related, it got messy. They suggested a police report, but I wasn't ready to go that far against my own parents. The week before the wedding, I went to Boston for pre-wedding events. Despite everything, I attended the rehearsal dinner at a fancy harbor restaurant, planning to confront Aaron and my parents about the charges after the wedding. The dinner was extravagant, with 5 courses and fine wines. Vanessa's dad toasted Aaron as the son I never had, thrilled to join their families. My parents glowed with pride, while I sat quietly, feeling like an outsider. After dinner, guests mingled in the private bar. I was chatting with Aaron's college friend when Vanessa approached, tipsy from champagne. "Eleanor, darling," she said loudly, drawing eyes, "thanks for your generous wedding contribution. Aaron told me about your parents using your card. So sweet of you." Humiliation burned my face as people stared. "That's not how it went," I said softly. Her smile turned icy. "Oh, I heard you're making a fuss. It's tacky to be so stingy about your brother's wedding." Something snapped inside me. Years of being dismissed, labeled the family failure, and begging for approval boiled over. "My parents stole $100,000 from my card without permission," I said clearly. "That's not stingy. It's about basic boundaries." Vanessa's eyes widened in fake pity. "Oh, dear. Is your little app struggling? Money tight? We could have put you at the free table." "My business is fine," I said, fighting to stay calm. "This is about respect and decency, which you clearly don't get. How dare you talk to my fiancé like that?" Aaron's voice cut in from behind. He'd overheard, approaching unnoticed. I faced him. "She's humiliating me publicly, Aaron, and you and our parents had no right to use my card." "We thought you'd want to help," he said, brushing it off. "But you're too selfish to support your family." "This isn't about family," I said, my voice rising despite myself. "It's about you all taking whatever you want from me without giving anything back." "Nothing back?" Aaron laughed coldly. "We gave you a stable home, opportunities, connections." "No, Aaron. You got those." I was left on the sidelines, told I was never enough. Guests were staring now, and Vanessa seemed to relish the drama. "I told you she's trash," she whispered loudly to Aaron. "No class," causing a scene at our dinner. I couldn't hold back. "I heard you both that night at your parents' house, in the library. You called me trash and a disappointment. You agreed, Aaron." His face twisted with rage. "You were spying." "I wasn't spying. I was in the next room, and you weren't quiet." It happened so fast. Aaron's face turned red, and before I could react, his fist hit my cheek, knocking me into a cocktail table. The room went silent. I touched my face, stunned, feeling a sting and a trickle of blood from my mouth. "Get out," Aaron growled, his voice low and menacing. "Leave and don't come back. You're not welcome at my wedding or in my life anymore." No one stepped in, not my parents, frozen nearby, nor the guests who saw Aaron hit me. Vanessa smirked, slipping her arm through his, as if supporting him through this moment. I grabbed my purse and walked out of the restaurant, tears clouding my eyes. At my hotel, I packed with trembling hands and caught the first flight back to Chicago the next morning. The wedding happened 2 days later without me. My credit card company eventually cleared most of the charges, but it took months and hurt my credit score. I never got an apology from Aaron or my parents. I didn't hear from them for years. That night changed everything. Aaron's punch was the final straw, but our bond had been broken long before. On that flight home, I vowed to build a life so vibrant their absence would be a mere footnote. The months after were my darkest. I buried myself in work to dodge the pain, staying at the office until dawn. My team noticed my tired eyes and sharper tone, but I brushed them off with talk of growth and markets. I opened up only to Lawrence. Over coffee one rainy day, I poured out the story of my family's betrayal. He listened, his face growing grim. "Eleanor," he said when I finished, "their actions were abusive, financially, emotionally, and physically. Have you thought about therapy?" I hadn't, but it made sense. The next day, I found Dr. Sofia Martinez, a family trauma specialist. Our weekly sessions grounded me as I wrestled with grief, anger, and the freedom of cutting family ties. Estrangement is more common than you think, Dr. Martinez said. Sometimes it's the healthiest choice when relationships harm you. Meanwhile, SupplyLink grew beyond my dreams. From a simple inventory tool, it became a platform linking entire supply chains. A venture capital investment let us hire more coders and boost marketing. I moved us to a bigger Chicago office and hired Rachel Kim, a startup scaling pro, as COO, freeing me to focus on big picture growth. By year's end, we were in 15 states, catching industry eyes. Tech Innovator featured women in supply chain tech and sent journalist Brian Walsh to interview me. Thoughtful and curious, he asked sharp questions about my journey with SupplyLink. Our 1-hour chat stretched to 3, ending with him asking me to dinner. Our first date was at a cozy Lincoln Park Italian spot. Brian stood out, genuinely curious about me, no hidden motives. A tech journalist with an engineering background, he was smart, kind, and had a dry humor that made me laugh for the first time in ages. My family's a mess, I told him on our third date. I don't talk to them anymore. Family's not just blood, he said. It's who shows up, respects your limits, and cheers your wins without making it about them. Over the next year, Brian and I built a bond rooted in respect and care. He got my drive for SupplyLink, never guilting me for late nights or travel. I backed him when he landed a tech editor role at a major outlet. With SupplyLink soaring and my personal life steady, I craved a permanent home. Chicago was great, but I wanted a fresh start. On a California business trip, I fell for the San Francisco coastline, the ocean's endless horizon and soothing waves. In Half Moon Bay, a stunning cliffside home with ocean views hit the market. It cost over $4 million, but SupplyLink's success made it possible. I bought it outright and hired a designer to make it both elegant and cozy. Brian supported my move. We did long distance for months until he transferred to his outlet's San Francisco office. He kept his city apartment but spent weekends with me in Half Moon Bay. In California, I built a new circle. I joined a tech leaders forum, befriended entrepreneurs, and took up beach yoga and hiking to feel rooted. Lawrence visited often, proud of my growth from that anxious college kid. Rachel ran the Chicago office flawlessly while I opened a small San Francisco branch. SupplyLink went global, reaching Canada, the UK, and Australia. Our new mobile app let business owners manage inventory anywhere, opening new markets. For years post-wedding, SupplyLink was worth over $200 million. I made Forbes 40 Under 40 and spoke at global tech conferences. The scared woman who fled Boston had become a confident entrepreneur living life on her terms. I heard bits about my family through old contacts. Aaron and Vanessa upgraded to a bigger house in a posh Boston suburb. My parents retired early, thanks to Aaron's investment tips, still mingling in elite circles. I wondered if they missed me or regretted anything, but those thoughts faded with time. I built my own family: Brian, who loved me for me, Lawrence, my early believer, Rachel and my SupplyLink team, building something meaningful, and friends who showed up for birthdays, checked in during travel, and cared without strings. 6 years after Boston, Brian proposed on a Sunset Beach walk below our home. We wed in a small ceremony there, with close friends only. Lawrence walked me down the aisle, Rachel was my maid of honor. No family drama, just love and connection. A year later, we welcomed our daughter, Lily, named for Brian's grandmother. Holding her, I promised she'd always know her worth wasn't tied to achievements or comparisons, but loved for who she is. Life found a joyful rhythm. SupplyLink thrived, though I stepped back from daily tasks to focus on strategy and family. Brian published a tech book and started another. Our ocean home overflowed with laughter, love, and a peace I'd never known growing up. 10 years after cutting ties with my family, my security system buzzed with unexpected visitors. On the monitor, I saw Aaron and Vanessa, faces I never thought I'd see again, looking nothing like before. It was a chilly November Saturday morning. Brian had taken our 4-year-old, Lily, to her swim lesson, leaving me to savor a quiet moment on the terrace with coffee and SupplyLink's latest reports. The Pacific Ocean sparkled below, waves crashing on the rocks, until the security chime broke my peace. I glanced at the monitor and my heart skipped. Aaron and Vanessa stood at my gate, staring into the camera. Vanessa's sleek style was gone, replaced by jeans and a plain sweater, hair in a simple ponytail. Aaron, once sharp in tailored suits, wore khakis and a wrinkled shirt. Both looked exhausted, with dark circles and tense faces. For a moment, I thought about ignoring them, pretending I wasn't home, letting life go on uninterrupted. But curiosity and a strange sense of fate pulled me in. Maybe this moment was inevitable after a decade. I set down my coffee and walked to the gate. Their faces shifted from worry to relief when they saw me. Behind them, a modest sedan was stuffed with luggage, a stark contrast to their old luxury cars. "Eleanor," Aaron said as I stopped a few feet away, the gate between us. "You look good. Why are you here?" I asked, my voice calmer than I felt. "How did you find me?" Vanessa stepped up. "Business Weekly featured your company last month, mentioning Half Moon Bay. We asked around to get your address." "That doesn't explain why," I said. "It's been 10 years since you hit me and told me to stay out of your life." Aaron looked ashamed. "I know I have no right to be here, but we're out of options." "What happened?" I asked, though I half-guessed the answer. "Everything collapsed," he said, running a hand through gray-streaked hair, surprising for his 44 years. "My firm got caught in shady investments. I lost my job, and the market crash wiped out our savings. We sold our house," Vanessa added, her once snobby tone soft. "Then our apartment. We've been crashing with friends, but we've overstayed everywhere." "What about Mom and Dad?" I asked. Aaron stared at the ground. "They lost nearly everything, too, following my investment advice. They're in a small Florida condo, scraping by on what's left of their retirement." Silence hung heavy. I studied them, searching for traces of the arrogant people who'd belittled me. Instead, I saw two broken souls, humbled by life's unexpected blows. "Eleanor, we need a place to stay," Aaron said. "Just for a bit, until we're back on our feet. I've got job leads, but nothing solid. Vanessa's looking for work, but she has no degree or experience." "You want to live with me?" I said, the irony sharp after all that happened. Vanessa nodded, tears in her eyes. "We wouldn't ask if we had anywhere else to go. Your parents stole from me for your wedding," I reminded them. "And you," I faced Aaron, "punched me for standing up for myself. You both called me trash." I turned to Vanessa. "Now you want my help?" "We don't deserve it," Aaron said softly. "But we're family, Eleanor, despite everything." "Family?" I echoed, the word bitter. "You didn't treat me like family when you were on top. I was the embarrassment, the failure, trash compared to your elite friends." They winced, hearing their own words thrown back. "I was wrong," Vanessa whispered. "We both were. How we treated you was awful." "You're right," I said. "And an apology now, only because you need me, doesn't feel sincere." Aaron edged closer to the gate. "I get why you're angry. But please, we're desperate. We'll help around the house, do maintenance, anything. We'll stay out of your way until we can afford an apartment deposit." I looked at them, their desperate eyes, slumped shoulders, and car full of their last belongings. I thought of my life now, the success I'd built, the family I'd chosen, the peace I'd found. I pictured them in my home, tense breakfasts, explaining them to Lily, the old judgments creeping back, and the message it'd send, that people could hurt me and face no consequences if they apologized when it suited them. I was at a crossroads. My choice would shape not just my ties with Aaron and Vanessa, but the example I'd set for Lily about self-respect and boundaries. I need to think, I said. Wait here. I walked back to the house, my mind swirling with mixed feelings. As I reached the terrace, Brian's car pulled up, back from Lily's swim lesson. I waited as Lily ran to me, her wet hair dripping on her pink cover-up, her face glowing. "Mommy," I held my breath underwater for 10 seconds, she shouted, hugging my legs. "That's incredible, sweetie," I said, smoothing her hair. "I'm so proud." Brian approached, sensing my unease. "Everything okay?" I took a deep breath. "Aaron and Vanessa are at the gate. They want to move in." His eyebrows shot up. "Your brother who hit you?" I nodded, explaining their situation while Lily played nearby. Brian listened, his face growing serious. "What do you want to do?" he asked when I finished. "It's your call, and I'm with you. But remember Dr. Martinez's words about boundaries." The ocean breeze carried a cool edge, whispering through the pines as I stood on my terrace, coffee cup warm in my hands. My therapy sessions with Dr. Sofia Martinez flickered through my mind, hours spent unraveling the knots of my family's cruelty, from their dismissive words to their outright betrayal. I'd worked tirelessly to heal, to carve out a life unshackled from their judgment and conditional love. I thought of Lily, my 4-year-old daughter, her bright eyes and fearless spirit. If she stood in my shoes one day, what would I want her to do? The answer surged like a tide: protect your peace, your worth, your heart. With that clarity, my path forward crystallized. I set my cup down, the porcelain clinking softly against the glass table, and walked to the gate where Aaron and Vanessa waited. Their nervous faces, etched with hope and fear, stared back through the iron bars. The Pacific's steady rhythm pulsed behind me, grounding my resolve. These two, who once held such power over my sense of self, now stood diminished, worn by life, pleading for help they'd never offered me. "I've considered your request," I said, my voice clear and firm, cutting through the morning air. "You cannot move in with us." Their faces fell, disappointment and panic flashing in their eyes like storm clouds. Aaron opened his mouth to protest, but I raised a hand, steady as the cliffs behind me. "Please, let me speak," I said, my tone calm but unyielding. "This isn't about spite or holding grudges. I don't hate you anymore." Carrying that anger was like dragging an anchor through my life. I let it go years ago to find peace. I took a deep breath, the salt air sharp in my lungs. "But I can't open my home to you. Our relationship was toxic. You, Vanessa, and our parents belittled my dreams, stole from me, and Aaron, you hit me when I dared to stand up for myself." Vanessa's tears spilled over, tracing paths down her pale cheeks, catching the sunlight. "We know we were wrong," she said, her voice trembling like a leaf in the wind. "We've changed, Eleanor. Life's been brutal to us." I studied her, searching for truth behind her words, but found only desperation in her eyes. "Maybe you have changed," I said, my tone softening but resolute. "I hope that's true. But an apology now, only when you're at rock bottom, feels like need, not genuine remorse. It doesn't erase the past or rebuild trust." Aaron's jaw tightened, his eyes flickering with shame before hardening into defiance. "So that's it," he said, his voice sharp. "You're turning your back on family when we're struggling, after all the advantages you've had?" The accusation stung, but its absurdity sparked a quiet laugh from deep within me. "Advantages?" I said, shaking my head, the breeze tugging at my hair. "Aaron, I built everything I have from nothing. No help, no support, just me, pushing forward despite our family's constant refrain that I'd never be enough. And you turned your back on me 10 years ago, with your fist and your words, telling me I was no longer part of your life. Shame flashed across his face, raw and fleeting, before anger took its place. You've always been selfish, he muttered, his voice low, almost swallowed by the ocean's hum. I met his gaze, unflinching, my heart steady as the horizon. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, I said evenly, my words deliberate. It's vital for relationships that don't tear you apart. That's a lesson I learned through years of pain, therapy, and rebuilding myself. I unlocked my phone, the screen glowing in the morning light, and opened a document I'd prepared while inside. I won't leave you with nothing, I said, tapping the screen with purpose. Here's information for 3 extended stay hotels nearby with affordable weekly rates. I've paid for 2 weeks at any of them to give you time to plan. I sent the file to Aaron's phone, which buzzed in his pocket like a faint echo of hope. I also included contacts for the local workforce center. They offer job placement and resume help, plus details on county rental assistance programs. Vanessa, tears still glistening, looked at me with confusion, her brow furrowed. Why help us at all after everything we did? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I paused, letting the question settle, the waves offering their steady reply. Because I choose to rise above how you treated me, I said simply. I won't let you into my home and risk exposing my family to the toxicity I grew up with, but I can offer practical help to set you on your own path. Aaron's expression wavered, caught between gratitude and the sting of wounded pride. After a heavy silence, he spoke, his voice softer now. What about your daughter? Can we meet our niece? There was a flicker of longing in his eyes, but I shook my head, firm yet gentle. Not now, I said. Maybe someday, if you show real change over time. But that connection has to come from genuine trust, not guilt or obligation. Aaron's eyes narrowed, frustration creeping in. How can we prove we've changed if you won't give us a chance? By respecting my boundaries today, I replied, my voice steady as the cliffs behind me. Trust, once broken, takes more than a single conversation to rebuild. Live your lives independently, approach me as equals, not as people begging for rescue. Their disappointment hung thick in the air, tinged with a trace of anger, but I saw a faint glimmer of understanding in their eyes. They knew, deep down, they had no right to expect more from me. The hotel and resources are there, I said, my tone final. What you do with them is your choice. Vanessa nodded slowly, wiping her tears with the sleeve of her sweater. Thank you for this, she said, her voice small but sincere. It's more than we deserve. I met her gaze, the ocean's rhythm pulsing in the background. Everyone deserves a bit of compassion, I said. But not everyone earns a place in my life. That comes through consistent respect and care. Aaron stayed silent, his pride visibly bruised, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. Finally, he spoke, his voice low. We'll take the hotel offer. Then, softer, almost hesitant, I'm sorry, Eleanor, for everything. Not just because we're desperate, but because I see now how wrong I was. Losing it all showed me what really matters. I hope you mean that, I said, my voice kind but firm. For your sake, not mine. I forgave you years ago, not because you deserved it, but because I needed to free myself from that pain. I closed the gate, the lock clicking with quiet finality, and turned back toward my home. The gravel crunched under my feet as I walked to the terrace, where Brian and Lily waited. Brian's arms slid around my shoulders, warm and steady, as we watched Aaron and Vanessa climb into their weathered sedan, its taillights fading into the coastal mist. You okay? He asked, his voice gentle, his eyes searching mine. Yes, I said, and I meant it, the truth settling deep in my bones. For the first time, I'm truly at peace with my family. Not because we've reconciled, but because I know my worth doesn't depend on their approval. That moment felt like closing a door I'd left ajar for far too long. My family's rejection, their cruelty, their belief that I was less than had once defined me. But standing there, with the ocean's song in my ears and my chosen family beside me, I felt unshakable. I'd built a life that was wholly mine, forged from resilience, love, and the courage to choose myself. Later that evening, after Lily was tucked into bed, her soft snores drifting through the house, I called Lawrence. His warm, familiar voice answered, steady as ever, as I recounted the encounter. I described Aaron and Vanessa's humbled appearance, their plea for help, and my decision to offer limited aid while holding my boundaries firm. You made the right call, Lawrence said, his tone rich with pride. Healing isn't about letting toxic people back in without accountability. It's about choosing strength over fear or obligation. His words echoed Dr. Martinez's teachings, anchoring me in the lessons I'd fought to learn. I kept thinking about Lily, I said, my voice softening as I glanced toward her room. What would I want her to do in my place? I'd tell her to protect her peace, to know that love should never demand her dignity or well-being. That's exactly it, Lawrence replied. You're not just guarding yourself, you're showing Lily what strength looks like. That's a gift, Eleanor, one she'll carry forever. As the sun sank below the Pacific, painting the sky in shades of amber and violet, I slipped down to the beach below our home. The sand was cool beneath my feet, the waves crashing in a steady rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. The ocean had been my constant companion these past years, its vastness reminding me that my struggles were just a small part of a larger world. Its relentless tides taught me that life moves in cycles, challenge giving way to calm, pain yielding to peace. I sat on a smooth rock, the salt air wrapping around me like a familiar friend. My thoughts drifted to my childhood in Boston, to the days when Aaron was my protector, running alongside my wobbly bike, shouting encouragement as I pedaled. Those memories once glowed with warmth, but they'd been buried under years of comparison, dismissal, and betrayal. My parents' favoritism had cast a shadow over my worth, and Aaron's transformation into someone who saw me as less than broke my heart long before his fist ever struck my face. Yet, those painful years shaped me. They forced me to dig deep, to find a strength I didn't know I had. Without their rejection, I might never have built SupplyLink from a college dorm idea into a global platform. I might not have found Brian, whose love was steady and true, or Lawrence, who saw my potential when I doubted myself. Their dismissal pushed me to create a family of choice, people who valued me for who I was, not what I could do for them. I thought of the early days of SupplyLink, hunched over my laptop in a cramped Chicago apartment, skipping meals to stretch my budget, pouring every ounce of myself into a dream no one else believed in. I remembered the sting of my parents' indifference when I shared my scholarship news, the humiliation of Vanessa's sneering words at their engagement party, the shock of Aaron's punch at the rehearsal dinner. Each moment was a wound, but each also became a stepping stone, leading me to this beach, this life, this unshakable sense of self. My greatest lesson wasn't about success or wealth, it was about family. Family isn't blood, it's action. It's the people who show up, who respect your boundaries, who celebrate your victories without making them about themselves. Brian, with his quiet humor and unwavering support, Lawrence, who mentored me with patience and belief, Rachel, who ran SupplyLink's Chicago office with fierce competence, and my friends, who filled my life with laughter and connection, they were my family. They were the ones who deserved my time, my trust, my heart. Setting boundaries wasn't about punishing Aaron, Vanessa, or my parents. It was about making space for relationships that lifted me up, not tore me down. Saying no to their request wasn't cruelty, it was love, for myself and for Lily. It was a choice to protect the peace I'd fought so hard to find, to honor the woman I'd become despite their efforts to diminish me. My journey from the family outcast to a woman standing firmly in her power was a winding, often painful road. There were nights I lay awake, doubting myself, wondering if I'd ever be enough. There were moments of loneliness, when the weight of my family's rejection felt like it might crush me. But each challenge forged me, teaching me resilience, courage, and the value of my own worth. Sitting on that beach, with the home I'd built rising behind me and the family I'd chosen waiting above, I knew I'd created the life I was meant for. The ocean stretched before me, its waves a reminder of life's ebb and flow. I felt a profound gratitude for the struggles that shaped my strength, for the people who saw my worth when my family couldn't, and even for Aaron and Vanessa. Their rejection, painful as it was, had set me free to become the person I was always meant to be. I thought of Lily, asleep in her room, her world full of love and safety. I'd promised her, the moment I held her tiny body, that she'd always know her value wasn't tied to achievements or comparisons, but to who she was. My decision at the gate wasn't just for me, it was for her, to show her that boundaries are strength, that love respects limits, that her peace is worth defending. The sky darkened, stars blinking into view, and I lingered on the sand, letting the moment wrap around me. This wasn't the end of my story, but a pivotal chapter, one where I chose myself, not out of anger, but out of love. Forgiveness didn't mean welcoming my family back, it meant releasing their hold on me, making room for joy, connection, and peace. Back in the house, Brian waited, a mug of chamomile tea steaming in his hands. "You sure you're okay?" he asked, his eyes warm with concern. I smiled, feeling the truth settle deep. "I'm more than okay," I said. "I'm whole." He pulled me into a hug, his warmth a quiet anchor, a reminder of the life we'd built together. The next morning, Lily's laughter filled the kitchen as she bounced in, her curls wild, chattering about her dream of swimming with dolphins. I listened, my heart swelling, marveling at how far I'd come. From the girl who felt invisible in her own family to the woman who'd built a global company and a home filled with love, I'd rewritten my story on my own terms. SupplyLink continued to soar, connecting businesses across continents, its mobile app revolutionizing how small companies managed their supply chains. I'd stepped back from daily operations, trusting Rachel's brilliance in Chicago while I guided strategy from our new San Francisco office. Brian was deep into his second book, a deep dive into technology's future, and our weekends were a tapestry of beach walks, Lily's swim lessons, and quiet evenings that felt like gifts. I'd heard whispers about Aaron and Vanessa through old connections. They'd found a modest apartment, Aaron working a steady but unglamorous job, Vanessa enrolled in community college courses. My parents, in their small Florida condo, lived quietly, their days of high society long gone. I wondered, sometimes, if they thought of me, if regret ever crossed their minds. But those questions no longer carried weight, they were echoes of a past I'd let go. My life was here, in this oceanfront haven, with the people who chose me as I chose them. I joined a local book club, finding joy in spirited debates over novels and wine. I'd taken up watercolor painting, my canvases alive with ocean blues and fiery sunsets, a creative spark that felt like freedom. Every step, whether in business, motherhood, or friendship, was a testament to the strength I'd uncovered within myself. Standing at that gate, saying no to Aaron and Vanessa, I didn't just close a door, I opened a new chapter. My worth was undeniable, my boundaries unapologetic, my heart open to those who truly belonged in it. Forgiveness was my gift to myself, not a pass for their wrongs, but a key to my own liberation. To those watching this, I ask, have you ever had to draw a tough line with family who hurt you? How did you summon the courage to stand firm when they needed you? Share your stories in the comments, I'd love to hear them. If my journey resonates, hit like and subscribe for more real-life stories that explore the raw, beautiful truth of finding yourself. Your worth isn't defined by those who fail to see it, but by your bravery to honor yourself despite their blindness. Thank you for watching, and may you find the strength to build the boundaries you deserve.